Would you like to support the Insiders? Pick up some merch now. Support us by getting a shirt, a hoodie, support Abby's window, get a Shenanigans shirt, whatever you'd like. Pick up some merch now. Insiders Pro Wrestling. The link is at the end of the video.
chants echoed. TNA.
What an announcement from Scott there, Jeff, huh?
Yeah, it was good stuff.
What an announcement that was. Welcome. A little bit different, and I've got to just first start by saying I apologize. I'm not feeling altogether very well, so I'm going to stay off camera in case I have to. I don't want to be gross, but in case I have to run somewhere. So I wanted to not be on camera for that. But yeah, welcome to our show. And we really wanted to, man, it's so exciting. All of this stuff that's been out there today, of course, this video that was seen of Scott, and just like, man, and Jeff, I'm sure you've been on the socials today too, but oh my gosh, all of the people we've seen, like all the wrestlers, all of the knockouts saying, I am a TNA knockout. Phenomenal, like so proud. Kylan King said it, Jordan Grace, all of them are tweeting about it. This, Jeff, is just unprecedented, dude. Like I in all my years of wrestling, and you've watched a ton of it too, I can't remember, Jeff, ever jumping on with a company other than, let's say WCW, I guess, if you want to look at that. But even that you can't really say because that came from somewhere else. But jumping on board with a company doing a change and stuff like this. But it was so exciting last night. And those of you who came out to watch it, man, it's just everywhere too. I was at work today, and like people coming up to me that are wrestling fans talking to me about, hey, did you see TNA is back? And I'm like, did I see TNA is back? You got to check out my channel. But oh man, Jeff, it was just so cool, and I'm so excited to see where this goes. And I know we have we've got some stuff that we're gonna read to you, and things that are out there maybe that'll clarify this a little bit. But oh man, Jeff, I just can't express how excited I am, man.
Yeah, I mean, let me ask you this. Do I sound weird?
No, not at all.
Okay, good. All right. So I honestly believe that it it almost brought a tear to my eyes seeing people talking about TNA Impact, whatever you want to call it, but talking about this company in the way that they've talked about it. And it has gone on since the announcement was made. People are still talking about it. And honestly, it makes me very happy being that I spent some time around some of the NWA territories during my stint in the business, and one of the territories was NWA Anarchy, NWA Wild Side for the old school folks, and they pulled a lot of talent from there. And honestly, I have a love and affinity for the company, and it came at a time for me where I was trying to find that alternative. WCW was no longer around. ECW no longer around. So where could I go? Where else could I go to see wrestling other than WWE? And they were that. And I know a lot of people grew up with it. So yeah, I mean, honestly, this announcement, I'm still in shock, like James said. I'm happy for the company. This is awesome. I think that for the naysayers out there that are saying, well, what about what some people remember TNA for? This is an opportunity for a different group of people to rewrite history. This is what this is about. I truly believe. So that's my thought on it, Joe.
Yeah, man, you're yeah, so well said. And you have much more of a background with the southern territories and the southern wrestling than I do. And of course, my first experiences with it was really with watching it regularly. Anyway, it was WCW. But yeah, I know, during the stream tonight, we're gonna get into some technical things, right? We're gonna get into some legalese, let's say. We're gonna get into some, some terms like in name only and all this kind of stuff. But make no bones about it. This is being done and yeah, I've even had a couple conversations on Twitter about people that were angry about it. Of course. But they have their reasons, I guess. And if they've, let's just say they just started when Impact was Impact, right? And now all of a sudden it's going to change. Yeah, the person I had the convo with was kind of saying, well, Impact was my brand, and I liked it, and I there's everything about it. I don't want to see any change, and there'll be some people out there like that because they won't. They're kind of. I think everybody's a little confused as of right now as to what it means. We do know that the name changed. We do know that Hard to Kill is now called TNA, but I don't really think it's going to be as huge of a change right off the bat as a lot of people think. And I think a lot of people are scared that it's going to be, this big outrageous change. But I think most of this, and Jeff, you could tell me if you agree, is for and you talked about this last night after our show, is the name recognition. I think it's the name recognition of the brand. Impact was great, but it doesn't have the history. like Jeff was just talking about, the history that TNA has, and all, my gosh, the stuff that was done, all people could keep saying was, oh my God, they're going to bring the 6-sided ring back. Yeah, that's not happening. That's not happening. Sean Ross Sapp reported that was never in the plans, and so that's not going to happen. I mean, maybe it'll be a one-off somewhere in a pay-per-view or something as a gag or something, but yeah, it's the name recognition, guys. What has me so positive about this is they now can be mentioned up there with the upper echelon, right? Everybody always kind of had, okay, whichever order you put it in, AEW, WWE, WWE, AEW, and then everybody else. And Impact got jumbled with everybody else. And I'm not going to count NXT really, because it's a WWE. So, but you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's how a lot of people had it. It was always 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now with TNA in the name, they can now prop themselves up into, okay, now we don't have to be number 3. We have all this rich history now too. AEW is building their own history. They're a relatively new company, right? WWE has so much history, right? And now TNA, with all of their history, can now hold themselves up there. And like I said, the wrestlers today shouting out so proudly that they are now TNA knockouts and stuff like that. It's that name recognition. They have it now. And I think, Jeff, that it's a fantastic move for them and a fresh start, and however they're going to do this. But I think that that alone has a lot of clout. And now you're going to see more attention paid, and you're going to see more of these, news people writing about it. I used to read Impact results on Bleacher Report. They used to put it on there every time they had a show, and every time they had a pay-per-view. They don't anymore. They just don't. They're not on there at all. So now they will be. And that is, I think, Jeff, what they're going for.
Yeah, and I think too. I mean, I'll say that I've seen people today that I follow, content creators, different people that didn't speak a word about Impact Wrestling
Yep.
before yesterday. And today it's, oh my God, TNA is back. Now I will say this. They do have a little bit of a PR hurdle to climb.
Right.
And because of my profession, I look at things through that lens. They do have a hurdle to climb there. But I will say, with the group of people they have, and I think the people that they may be able to attract, I honestly, I'm happy that they're doing this, and I think they'll have an opportunity to rewrite that history and to change people's perception. I think, I think the main thing is them being able to get in front of more people. How do you do that? You announce this. Now, some people are going to be skeptical and they'll say, well, it's just going to be the same old TNA. And they're going to watch so that they can prove themselves right. And then you're going to have the people who are like, man, TNA is back. I haven't watched it in 10 years. Let me tune in. So then you're going to get those people who have that tie to it. And then you have your fans that follow it all the time, regularly. And obviously they're going to tune in. We're going to be there. So you have an opportunity, if you're these wrestlers, if you're Scott D'Amore, if you're any of the producers, the talent, anyone backstage, you have the opportunity to rewrite history and change people's perception of what TNA is and what it can be. So I think you have a chance to win a lot of people over.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely totally agree. Let me get to this legalese jargon. And Jeff will pop that up there. So this was released. I want to Fightful had it on their so this, I'm just going to read this word for word. And it says, for immediate release, welcome back, total nonstop action TNA wrestling. Anthem Sports and Entertainment, global multi-platform media company, announced that today, that its professional wrestling company, Impact Wrestling, is returning to its iconic TNA Total Nonstop Action Wrestling name at Hard to Kill, first pay-per-view event of 2024, which will originate for the first time ever from the Palms Casino Resort in Las Vegas, Nevada. So there you go. That's big for the first time ever. Announcement was made Saturday night at the end of Bound for Glory, which aired live in front of a standing room only crowd in Chicago. TNA will launch 2024 at Hard to Kill with a second night of action-packed. Now this is interesting. A second night of action-packed professional wrestling, the Snake Eyes Extravaganza show at the Palms on Sunday, January 14th. So they do this, right? They've done this before, where they'll have a night of, that's televised, that pay-per-view, and then the next day they'll have a show that will be for the fans there, and then they usually will tape it, and then it'll be shown the following Thursday. So that's what I'm assuming this is. Will be taped to air, right, on the company's flagship weekly TV show. Yeah, so that'll air then the following week, every Thursday night on Access TV. So you can see right here a lot of the questions that people were asking. Is it still going to be on Access? We were talking about that. Is it still going to be on So yes, obviously it is. That is not changing. It will still be on Access TV. We still hear the TNA chants wherever we go, said President Scott D'Amore. Fans have longed for TNA wrestling, so that's what we're bringing back in 2024. TNA wrestling, we're back. And then, of course, the tickets. Company officials confirmed that the new year will launch a new look TNA that runs from the entrance ramp to turnbuckles in the ring to larger, more prestigious venues. Larger, more prestigious venues, and much, much more. So that sentence there, wrestling that runs from the entrance ramp to turnbuckles in the ring to larger, more prestigious venues, and much, much more. That is a big change right there. So that is from the entranceway. So you're going to be probably talking graphics. You're going to be talking maybe pyro. You're going to be talking lighting, all that kind of stuff. And that's what they were saying earlier on, like a few months ago, when they said that they were working on that. Further details on the TNA wrestling will be revealed on Tuesday, October 24th, or TNA wrestling return Tuesday, October 24th, when D'Amore sits down for an exclusive interview with Tom Hannafin that will air live on Impact's Facebook page, starting at 12 noon Eastern time. The Q&A will include questions from worldwide pro wrestling media. So this Tuesday, man, I'm sure Jeff is working, I'm sure. I should be home. I have an appointment in the morning, but I should be home for that. So if I am, maybe I'll pop on live on our channel, and we could always check out what Scott has to say. It's obviously going to be on their Facebook page, so maybe we'll have it on in the back. Obviously, we can't play it because it's Facebook content, but maybe maybe just wait until it's over, and then we'll jump on real quick and just make some comments as to what he said. But that will answer some more questions for all of you. So those of you who are on Facebook, starting at 12, there it is, 12 noon Eastern. They have a Q&A form, so a lot of the other questions that maybe we don't know the answers to, he will give us if he can. And then this is history. TNA launched in 2002, has long been known as the most innovative professional wrestling company in the world. It's known for its high-risk, action-packed X Division matches. One simple motto: it's not about weight limits, it's about no limits. Stars of the X Division included Chris Sabin, AJ Styles, Jay Lethal, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, Petey Williams, Frankie Kazarian, Trey Miguel, among others. It's also the home of prestigious Knockouts division, widely regarded as best women's division all professional wrestling, which we say all the time. The Knockouts division features Trinity, Deonna Purrazzo, Mickey James, Jordan Grace, Giselle Shaw, Masha Slamovich, Kylan King, Jessica, and Courtney Rush, among others. Legendary Knockouts include Gail Kim, Awesome Kong, The Beautiful People, Taya Valkyrie, ODB, Tara, Tracy Brooks, and so many others. So there you go. Jeff, what are your thoughts on this? I want to hear what you make of all of this. Obviously, it's a name change. Obviously, they're staying on Access, at least for now, because this is obviously including Anthem, and obviously they're continuing to similarly the way they do their shows with one show live, and then the next will be taped and shown on the channel. Now, I did not see anything about YouTube, which makes me a little nervous. I don't know if that would change or not, but what do you make on all this?
I mean, I think I understand their logic. I understand that, you know, they always have had the fans that have said TNA. Even when people refer to it as Impact, they'll say TNA Impact. They'll just put it all together. Um, I mean, that's just what people have done. They haven't been able to separate that, and I get it. I know I kind of had an idea that something was up, something big was coming when they started talking about the production changes and some different things that they were going to do. People are noticing the camera work and the production side of the house, so that's improved. So I believe that this is all again an opportunity to rewrite history. I think that I think if I'm being honest, I think Scott Demore is the type of guy that is like, yeah, I think that you know if other people were in charge when people fell off of TNA, then maybe they would have never fallen off. Maybe we would be in a different spot today than we are. And I think you kind of have to have a chip on your shoulder. So someone like Scott Demore is perfect for this, and I think they have a locker room full of people who are great for this too, and that'll be able to take this opportunity to change people's perception. I think that's what it's all about. I mean, let's be honest. You're gonna have people that are. I mean, I've already seen it. People talking about, oh, it's gonna be the same old TNA. Nothing's gonna change. And to that comment, my question is: one, when's the last time you watched the product? Two, if you haven't watched it in so long, why do you think that your opinion truly matters? And three is a challenge. I would challenge you, like I've challenged other people on this channel, to give it a month. Give it a month. So, subscribe to their membership on YouTube and give it a month. Tell me how Impact is. Tell me how the wrestling is. Tell me how the storylines flow. So
There you go. Yeah, listen, we've done this little challenge. Jeff has done this before, and we've had some people really come on and enjoy it. I know. What was it? Who was it in our chat last night? One of our community members. Was it Jason Stoffer or was it Jason Peace?
I think it was
Um,
Jason Peace, yeah.
Jason Peace had said that it's the first time he ever bought an Impact pay per view, and that's pretty awesome. And he really enjoyed it, and that's what this is all about. It's really all about just the love for this sport, the love for wrestling, and the fact that there are choices. And I think, to Jeff's point, the more people watch this, and whether it's with us or not, it's irrelevant. But the more people watch the show, I think the more people are just going to realize how good it is, and see things that they're going to enjoy, and pick out things. That there's just other options. There's other things, and if you're into women's wrestling, man, there's no better place to go. There really is no a better place to go. Impact's women are just phenomenal. They're just phenomenal, and talented, and just so much talent there in that knockouts division, and they're just amazing. Um, I'm going to read this too. These are just some notes. And again, this also came, I believe, from Fightful. This Impact, this just some notes here. Impact taped Deonna Purrazzo and Tasha Steelz versus MK Ultra before the pay-per-view. We know that. They did. There was no reasons. I was looking around for that today. Was there a reason given? There wasn't. That was the match that was taken off and taped prior. We all kind of figure it's because of the big announcement. That this was, and yeah, there's some people are upset about it. Well, they could have taken off anything else. But listen, it is what it is. You can see up there on the screen, Matt Cardona's returning was a one-off. He is not signed currently. One of the reasons given regarding the TNA name change was for general buzz. Again, this is from Fightful. And to unite the history of the company, which has been known as TNA, NWA, TNA, Impact, and GFW. So a lot of different names, right? United under one name. Makes sense. We're told that a lot of planning went into this and actually was considered as far back as the summer, but kept getting pushed back. There will be a complete presentation shift in the program. And again, we go to this from venues to production to logos and look. A complete presentation shift. You guys in our community have been asking and kind of clamoring for this. When are they going to go to a bigger stuff? When are they going to have more pyro? When are they going to have the lighting? When are they going to go to bigger venues? Well, that apparently is all coming. It is all coming. And as I said last night, and I'm sure Jeff will agree, don't expect that they're going to go to arenas that seat 25,000 people. Right off the bat. That would be a little silly to upstep from these places that were seated maybe 500 to 1,000. They're not going to do that. It would be silly because and if they're not going to get the crowds right away, they'd have to back out of it, and kind of blacken out all the seats and stuff on TV, which would be kind of dumb. So don't expect that. Gradual changes. That is how I think they have to go about it. And then they're not planning on bringing back the six-sided ring, and talent that we've spoken to do not want it back. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised by that. Impact was happy with the buzz that Impact 1000 received, as well they should be. That was amazing. And the nostalgia associated with it, which didn't hurt matters. There were more extended plans for TNA as a separate entity in 2020, but COVID pandemic slowed that down. So there you go. So just some more notes on the change. And again,
remember that was around the time that Moose had that TNA championship.
yes,
and people were like, "Why is that back in the fold?" Well,
yeah,
that kind of explains some of that.
yes, yep. See all this behind the scenes stuff that we're not privy to. And then people say, "Oh man, I want to know. I want this information." A lot of this stuff we just don't hear. We get it when they're ready to give it. Unless unless the news places find it, but even them, they're going to release things when they want to release stuff. This stuff could have been 3 years in the making, and we just didn't know. Which led to a huge surprise on a show last night, led to a huge moment for me. I was so excited when they had that box. I'm like, it's going to be TNA. It's going to be TNA. I mean, it's just so much fun when you get to do that. I mean, I'm a 54-year-old man now, and it's like, to get excited like a kid, right? Like when I was young again. It brings back memories, and it's great stuff. And now I can tell you guys this, and Jeff alluded to this too. The eyes are going to be on it. Hard to Kill is going to get a tremendous amount of views. There's going to be people that are paying attention to that. I just mentioned, earlier, Bleacher Report did, there's going to be places paying attention to this. You might even have sports places, ESPN, other, might pay attention to this. And there's going to be eyes on this pay-per-view. A lot of eyes on this pay-per-view. Why do you think too now, Jeff? And when we're looking back at this last night, Jordan Grace saved her challenge for Hard to Kill. Moose saved his challenge for Hard to Kill. Hard to Kill is going to be amazing. And, a lot of folks in our chat we're talking last night about, well, what about free agents? What about CM Punk? What about the other names that got passed around, Lacey Evans, and well, you can bet that if they're able, and a lot of those WWE superstars will be done with their 90, if they have a no compete, Mr. Punk will be done with a no compete around that time. You can bet that they're going to pull out a lot of stops for this. And that's when we might see some of these bigger names come and things like that. They wouldn't doubt that they try to get a guy like Will Ospreay back for another big match. That they're going to go all out with this, Jeff. This is going to be one of, if not their biggest pay-per-view. Especially with the aspects of that this is changing and going back to TNA. This is going to be one of their most watched pay-per-views, one of their biggest pay-per-views, Jeff, that they've done in years.
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of eyes will be on that pay-per-view because, again, who's going to show up?
Yep.
We don't know.
Yeah.
What are we going to see? Is this going to be like the official launch? Are they going to use Hard to Kill to do that? You're probably going to see new champions.
Yep.
More than likely, because I can say this, I don't think it was an accident that they signed Jordan Grace and Moose to the extensions that they did. I think they see those two as kind of the cornerstones in the future of the company, along with folks like Ace Austin.
That's a great, even consider that. You're right. Those two, Jordan and Moose, were signed to long term. That's a great shout.
Yeah, so I think, honestly, I believe that, again, people not understanding, it's not like they just decided, a month ago, hey, we hear all the fans talking, let's just do this thing. They didn't do it like that. They were having these conversations at least 2 to 3 years ago. But yeah, I just feel like this is an opportunity for them. And See Wrestling asked a good question here. I need to ask this just your opinion. What do you think happens if a relaunch TNA fails? If it doesn't get the long-term traction they obviously want, think this could be the last big effort? I think that's a fair question. And I would say to that, from just my opinion, if it fails, I think that I think they'll still be able to pivot. I don't think you completely kill Impact, or you can pivot in another direction, relaunch it as a completely new thing. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility, but maybe this is just the fan in me saying this, but I just don't think they're going to fail. I just call me crazy, call me jaded, whatever, but I just don't think it will. I think that they will. I think they have the right people in place. I think they have the right amount of buzz. I think they have some people that are interested in going there that can really make a difference. So I don't think it will fail, but I think if it does, they can certainly pivot in another direction, I believe, and do something else.
Yeah, it's a fair question. Because with any chance you take comes risk. That's just, that's with anyone. When you're going to take a leap of faith, sometimes, you think, well, we're going to give this a shot. And, but, and sure, yeah, it could fail. But I think a lot of that too is, what are their goals going to be? Because you fail when you put yourself up against goals, right? So what are the goals? And in that respect, I don't think they're going to be under as much pressure, because they're still not, at least from what we've read so far, unless we get more information on this, but they're still not under a, they're not on a big network. They're, it doesn't look like they're changing networks. So they're not going to be under any sort of ratings pressure or anything like that. Now, if they had the pay-per-view and the pay-per-view was a flop, then if the pay-per-view is terrible, which that I really can't see. Now, if that is terrible, well then yeah, that's another story. But I don't think they're gonna put a whole lot of pressure on themselves, at least not right away. I think next year will be a transition year. I think they'll go about this slowly. They have the people signed, like Jeff said. I wouldn't doubt that championships change. It all seems like it's kind of in place now, right? Whether they want the people that they have signed for a long time to have those titles. I think at least one of them will change. I don't know. I think if the better chance of the two of them changing, I think is definitely Alex Shelley. I don't know though that they want to, especially bringing the brand around new again. I don't know that they want to take the title off of Trinity, just because Trinity's kind of like, she's the one who just got put over, and we'll talk about this, late when we talk about the show. But Trinity was put over by Mickey, big time. I mean, you saw it last night, and so I don't know that they're going to want to take the title off of her. So I don't think that'll happen, at least not yet. Jordan is around for a long time. Jordan's going to have a lot of shots at this, and Jordan's going to have that title for a good while at some point. I just don't know if they want to do that that quickly, but I do think that Moose would probably win, and that's just going to set up a lot of stuff too, because the whole thing with Josh wanting the title back and other things. But I'm getting off the track. But I don't think, to answer the question, I don't think so. Just because simply I don't think their goals are going to be outrageous. I don't think they're going to be like, okay, we want to be, we want to have better ratings than NXT. I don't think they're going to put themselves under that much pressure. I just don't, especially on Access TV, which is really still just not a hugely watched channel. That I think is one thing they've got to fix. I do, but I mean, Anthem obviously owns them, and they're not going to do that probably. So unless Anthem makes a deal with another network, but yeah, I've worked in retail my whole life. I've been a manager for most of that, and I know that when you fail, is when you set your goals a lot of times too high. So you kind of have to get them more realistic, to know what you can do and what you can beat. Obviously, ticket sales for the show will show it. But I really believe that this is going to be, I believe, sold out wherever it's going to be. Now if that doesn't end up being the case, well, that's a little scary. That's a little scary. But like Jeff, I have faith in it. I think that they'll sell it out wherever this new venue is, and I think they'll get a lot of people there, a lot of media, a lot of the press from the wrestling press will be there, and who knows, if they grab one of those big names, right? If they grab an Ospreay, if they grab a CM Punk, if they grab one of those names, that are those names where you say to yourself, these people can fill arenas, then that's another step in the right direction. So, yep. But any other thoughts on this, Jeff, before we move on?
I would say, and Conrad asked a really good question here. What are the areas that need the biggest improvement for TNA in this rebrand? I would say, for me, and I definitely want to get Joe's thoughts, but for me, I would say continue to improve on production. I think people like to see glitz and glamour and sparkle and shine and booms in entrances. So bringing back some pyro, I think, is a big deal. Um, and continue to put yourself in a position to be amongst the top option of free agents. I think those are the things that need to change. They need to attract names like Will Ospreay. They need to get people like that there. Um, I think it's cool that people were linking CM Punk's name
Mm-hmm.
there. That tells you that it's like, okay, they're an option. So, continuing to kind of be in that conversation as a viable option that can produce some great results.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Look, we've heard, that the past comments were always like, well, there's no way Impact will get this person. There's no way they'll sign this person. And if that perception changes by them actually signing someone or bringing in one of those people, like Jeff mentioned, then yes, then that will build it up even more. And I do believe that they will do that. I'm not saying it'll be CM Punk. I'm not saying it'll be Ospreay, but I do think they'll make a splash with, and it could be some of these people that were let go from WWE or maybe other companies, or it could be somebody completely different out of left field that we didn't see coming. But I do believe they'll do that. And I think that's all part of the process. I think this is I hate to refer to it because I hate the Philadelphia 76ers, but trust the process. And I do think this is a process. It's a starting point. We're starting over, and a rebrand and a lot of other new stuff. I'm so excited just to see like the little things. I'm excited to see an entrance ramp. I'm excited to see pyro if they have it. I'm excited for all that stuff. I'm excited to see what the ring's gonna look like, and all that. And man, oh man, I think we mentioned this on our stream last night too. Boy, oh boy, Jeff, do I want Mike today there on that announce table for the first night.
For the first night, that would be, oh man, just to even have him there, just maybe even if he was just there, just to provide color commentary and not play
Oh
by
yeah.
play per se. But
Yep. Yep.
yeah, I would love to see it.
Yeah, it would be so good. Even if he didn't want to go the entire night and wanted to just do one match, I
Yeah.
just do like the opening of the show and announce the opening and stuff like that. It would just be tremendous. But yeah, I'm just so excited. I really am. And I said this last night too after our show. As part of the reason why I think I'm a little under the weather today is I stayed up way too late. And I had a very long shift at work today too. But when you're excited about something, a lot of times you're just revved up, and that's how I was. And we talked about this yesterday too, and the fact that it's just so much fun to be on the jumping on point here. And as I said to Jeff, Jeff is responsible. There are a few other people. Jeff got me watching this show. I hadn't watched TNA in God only knows how long. It was years. The WCW thing crashed and burned, and I got a little turned off, and I watched it for a little while after, but not very much. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just in it. And then when the six-sided ring came out, I'm like, nope, I'm over this. I'm like not watching this anymore. And then, Jeff got me watching again. And I said last night on the stream, I saw the See Wrestling sent some images to me from a Decay match. And I'm like, oh, damn, this looks amazing. And because I had never seen all that. So now I can go back and I can start watching some stuff that I never got to see. And then we were seeing all those highlights as we were watching Impact the first year. They would show those highlights
Yeah.
over and over again. And I got to see that the Curry Man and Shark Boy, the fish market thing that I never saw before. So
Yeah.
I can go back now and I can start watching some of this history and some of the stuff that I didn't see. And that's exciting too. And so I'm just excited. And I got to say this, and I know maybe I'm blowing our own horn. I don't really care. I'm very proud that we, and I'll say this, we kind of went against the grain a little bit. You know, when we started our channel, we wanted to do things different, right? And yeah, we were on top of the big companies, sure. You know, we were with WWE, we were doing all the pay-per-views and we were doing all that stuff. And enjoyed it, you know, but we kind of hitched our wagon to Impact, and I'm very proud that we did that. And I'm very proud of what we've done, and the wrestlers from Impact that have come on our show, and we talked to, and you know, the ones who share our posts now weekly, and like our streams and all that kind of stuff. Very proud of that. You know, we're not a huge channel. We don't have a million subs and all that other kind of stuff. But you know what? What we have is special to me. I know the community is wonderful. The people in our chat are wonderful, and I'm very proud. And I am really so looking forward to what's coming up next. And I'm super excited about going forward, Jeff.
Yeah, I am too. I am too. And there are some great points. I just want to say this. There's some great conversation, great points being made in the chat, and I see them. I'm trying to pop them all on the screen, even if we can't get to them and read them. But thank you all, because this is, it's a great conversation.
Oh yeah, I
And
can see the comments. Wow.
yeah,
Holy cow, yeah.
it's great conversation going on in the chat. So the one thing that I would caution people is, don't think that because they changed the name in January that it's going to go back to what you remember from 2004 or 2005.
Yeah.
Don't think that, because I don't think that that's the direction they need to go in per se. I don't want people to get turned off because they don't get everything their way. That's just my opinion. Um, I just think that we need to respect the path that they go down, trust the process, like Joe said, and just let it ride, and be along for the journey. I think if we start saying that, I've seen a lot of people talk about the 6-sided ring. I've seen that. Here's what I'm gonna say about it. The talent, they have to work in that ring. If they don't like the ring, the match quality is not going to be where they want it to be. And I can assure you that they will not, and by they, I mean those in charge and the wrestlers, will not want to take things to a point where match quality suffers. They're putting on great matches. I mean, we're about to talk about the pay-per-view that we saw last night, and I mean, Will Ospreay and Speedball Mike Bailey. If you didn't see that match last night, do yourself a favor. Go watch that match.
Oh my gosh.
Go watch that match.
Oh, what a clinic of wrestling that was. I was saying last night, and I don't say this lightly, because I've seen so much wrestling, so many big pay-per-views over the years, and shows and stuff like that I've watched. Honestly, and you talk about all-time best and this and that, and people throw around that word a lot. But for me, boy, oh boy, listen, if it's not top 5 of all time that I've seen, it's definitely top 10. That was just a clinic of wrestling between those two guys. Tremendous match. We knew it going in, but it was just absolutely phenomenal. And so what a clinic of wrestling between those two men. And I have not had a chance to see Will very often. He was super impressive. Mike Bailey is just he's just incredible as well. And yeah, it was just off the charts. And they've done that. They that's the thing. This all this to get more eyes on something that people may have missed. All those things that we talk about on our channel that we've seen, the Iron Man match between Josh and Bailey, there's just so much good wrestling and stuff like that that maybe just people are missing because they're like, hey, what's Impact? What, oh, that's that tiny little company that kind of used to be TNA. Well, now that's not it anymore. Now they are TNA, and now maybe people will do what I'm going to do, and they'll go back and they'll say, wow, I haven't watched it in forever. I'm going to go back and I'm going to check this out. I'm going to watch some of these things, or I'm going to tune in to the pay-per-view, and then I'm going to tune in on the every week, and I'm going to check this out because this looks pretty cool. So, and I think that's really all they can, that's really all they want is to just get more and more and more views. So I'm stoked, man. I really am. And like Jeff said, yeah, we'll talk about the show because, but we got to go to start off that conversation. We're all anticipating something at the end. We all were. The community was, we were, because we knew they cut that match. We knew they cut the knockout stag match out. Nobody really knew why. And we were kind of guessing throughout the night. Some of the community was saying, "Oh, they want to give more time to the Speedball Ospreay match." It's going to be someone big coming at the end, and we all kind of thought differently. And then the match with Josh and Shelly ended, and we're like, "Okay, what's gonna? There's so much time left. It's like 15 minutes left in the show. What's gonna go on?" And then we started this promo, and Jeff said, "Okay, it's hard to kill." And we saw them walking and all that. This promo was cool as hell, by the way, too.
You want to talk about production value?
Oh my gosh. Out in the middle of nowhere, and they find this box. Kazarian's carrying this box up out of the water as if it came from underneath somewhere, right? As if it was drowned somewhere, and he came up. And he comes up out of the water, and all the people are the Jordan Grace, Josh Alexander, Eric Young, all gathered around there, and then they all start saying things, and then the way that was done was phenomenal. And what we're wondering why they cut this match, and why did they need this extra time, this extra 15 minutes or whatever. Well, that was why. They had this big announcement planned. And but what a way to end the show, Jeff. And it was the show was brilliant. Was really, really, really fun show to end there. And really, I guess, Jeff, when you look at it, I mean, other than they're going to have those overseas shows and stuff, which we'll be seeing on Thursday nights, but pretty much ended Impact pay-per-views.
Yeah. I mean that's the last, like, one of the bigger shows, one of the last Impact pay-per-views we'll ever see. So, yeah, I mean, it's crazy. But that video package that they did for that, oh my goodness. I mean,
it was great.
It was so well done, and the imagery, the people that they had in it. I mean, if you think about the mix of the originals and the folks that are kind of seen as the future, and I mean, it was so well done. But I'm excited. I really am excited about the future. But like Lil Silver just said, they ended with a bang. If that's the last Impact show that we get, that's a hell of a show to end off on.
Yeah, I mean, it really was.
Yeah.
It really was. From start to finish, we started off with the tag team championship match, which, those two teams, my God, you want to talk about the future and the way they positioned it. There's two teams that are going to be the future, Jeff. ABC, Austin and Chris Bay, and of course the Rascals. I mean, that's the future of their company.
Absolutely is.
So
that's the future.
Yeah. The way it was, and who knows, Jeff, now as we look back, right? And we look back at this show, now you can almost kind of, maybe there was a little bit of intent with a lot of this. Maybe there was a lot of intention with this and how they positioned this, and the the send off from Mickey and Trinity, and how that ended, and Mickey very much showing that it's Trinity's time, in putting Trinity over the way she did, and then a lot of people were questioning, well, why didn't Josh win that match? Why didn't Josh beat Alex Shelley? It doesn't make any sense. Now Jeff brought up a very good point with that, and because he mentioned last night, because they wanted to legitimize his title reign, which makes a lot of sense. If he loses there, then he gets that word, the transitional champ, and that's how it would go down. And you saw the embrace from Alex Shelley. You saw that at the end of that show, and I believe that was real. They were at odds a little bit, but then Alex and shook his hand, and they embraced, and at the end, and so I think that this was all planned, knowing that the storylines for this year now, for the most part, are over. Going into the major pay-per-views, and all these other ones that'll be done overseas are going to just be little mini kind of offshoot things, offshoot stories and stuff. They're not part of the main plot lines, right? And so I think this is how they wanted to end it, knowing, because we didn't know, but knowing that this is how they want to proceed in the future.
Yeah. I mean, again, this is an exciting time. In the matches last night. I mean, you talked about the tag team match with ABC and the Rascals. Talk about Chris Sabin and Kenta.
Yep.
For that X Division title. That was a tremendous match.
Yep.
And then you got, I mean, I'm skipping over some. I mean, obviously, come on, PCO Monsters Ball match. Come on,
God.
Come on. The Call Your Shot Gauntlet was awesome.
Oh my gosh, the surprises we got there.
Yeah.
We could spend an hour talking about the surprises we got on that gauntlet match. Matt Cardona. Apparently, Jeff, and this was out there today, that Sunny Kiss is with them, which is tremendous. That she's there. Sunny Kiss is apparently with them. I saw some things out there that said that she was signed. That is amazing. I love Sunny Kiss. Huge signing for Impact Wrestling. And then some of the, oh my gosh, we got Juvie.
Juventud freaking Guerrero.
We got Juvie Juice, man. We got Juventud Guerrero on that. Oh man. Yeah, the Call Your Shot was tremendous, and the people were just saying the only thing they wanted to see was Jordan and her husband go at it, which would have been good had they done that. They were helping each other, but some people, could you imagine if they squared off against one another in the middle of the ring? And of course, Jordan Grace went, and of course, Jeff, the Dango fanfare. Dango tried to set himself up with Kozlov helping him get that 20th spot. What happens? He goes in, and he's out in a split seconds.
You know what? They did that as payback for Santino, because do you remember when Santino entered the Rumble back in the day?
Yep.
Got right out.
Yep.
I think they said, we're going to beat that record. That's what they went after with Dango. And you know what it sets up, which, I'm all for big hoss fights. So Kozlov, now known as Oleg Prudius, I believe.
Yes. Yeah.
And Jake something.
Yeah.
Which I need to see that.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah. I need to see that.
Yeah, that's a hoss fight and a half. You're right.
I need to see it. So, yeah, I mean, that was well done. Like you said, Jordan Grace winning. And here's the tricky part of all of this. And I'm going to blame James Chadwick for this line of thought and questioning. James made a very interesting point. What if she doesn't go after the Knockouts title, but she goes after the Impact World Heavyweight title? I mean, you want to talk about a way to relaunch a company. I mean, what if she changes her mind between now and Hard to Kill? What does that do with the Knockouts division? There's a lot of different things that you could do, I feel, if you went that way. But I mean, obviously, I want to see her. Whatever she does, I'm gonna be supportive of it. But um, I think that's an interesting line of thought there. So, thank you, James Chadwick, for making me go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. Well, listen, that would be that would be completely off the rails. I mean, a woman going after a man's title, like whether she would challenge Alex Shelley. But again, you would think, nah, it's not going to happen. But they are so behind their knockouts. They really are. And you want to talk about what stands out, what makes them different. Their knockouts division does. They know it. They spotlight it. So they know that makes them different. And so what better way, like Jeff was just saying, people will think, that's never going to happen. They're not going to do it. I don't know. Don't be too sure. Don't be too sure. Because like he was saying, could you imagine? You want to start off with a crazy, you want to start off with something that's going to gain attention. Have her beat a men's wrestler and take their title. I mean, they, people harken back. Yeah, they say, well, they've done it before. They had a woman take a guy's title, but we won't talk about that. We know who that was. But yeah, that would be completely, it would be a shocker, but it wouldn't really surprise me altogether if they were to do that. So we saw Jordan in there with Bully Ray, and stood toe to toe with him, and of course Bully, doing a little bit, putting her over, but yeah, it wouldn't totally surprise me if they went that route.
Yeah.
And yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I mean it wouldn't surprise me either, and I think people are bringing up the fact that Tessa was the champion there.
Yep.
I think that would be a part of rewriting that history, so to speak, that part of the company's history. I mean, if they went that direction, I'm not saying that they are, but I think again, whatever they decide to do, I think Jordan Grace is a pillar to steal from elsewhere of the company going forward. So I think whatever they do is going to be great. She's being presented in an awesome way right now. Great, great interaction there with Bully Ray. Everybody wanted Bully to get beaten. I mean, let's be honest.
Yep.
When it came down to those two, everyone was rooting for Jordan at that point. So yeah. And Conrad brought it up. We can't talk about Bound for Glory without talking about that main event.
Oh, wow.
Josh Alexander, Alex Shelley, and again, you brought it up, about the point that I made with really solidifying Alex Shelley's title run. There were those dirty words that I mentioned last night. As a champion, you don't want to be known as a transitional champion. That's what people were calling Alex Shelley. Well, the guy that he couldn't beat before, he beat last night. And he had to pull some things out from places I'm not sure people knew he had, but he showed a little bit of a mean streak. He went after that surgically repaired arm. Those mind games, that in-ring psychology of seeing someone doing whatever it takes to show that they belong. That's the story. And Alex Shelley more than belongs. He's the man, and he has been for quite some time. I'm glad that he's had this opportunity to go on this run. I really am.
Yeah, Yeah, absolutely. And I know, like I said, Josh is huge. He's built up a huge fan base, and rightly so. He's great at what he does, and a lot of people were rooting for him, wanted him to win that title back because they felt he deserved it. And he's going to have plenty of time to do that, and I think that that's the way they're looking at it. That and it certainly was a way for them to have Alex Shelley, like you said, legitimize his title, legitimize that run, and not just be, well, the only reason he got that was because Josh got hurt. And you don't want to be, especially a guy like Alex, who's been there forever, and one of the originals, and definitely deserved that moment in the sun. Plus, Jeff, what could we have might have happened next because of the fact that we got Chris Sabin
Mm.
retaining his X Division title and Alex Shelley retaining his title. And how could that play out with something that I've got to give credit where it's due? Jeff mentioned this about maybe 4 or 5 months ago, maybe even a little more. How cool would it be if you got one of the Motor City Machine Guns going up against the other for that title? And you know what, Jeff? Well, no, they can't do it this way. I was thinking it would be title for title. They can't do it that way because they got to do option C.
Yeah.
But Saban option C, and imagine he comes out on Thursday. That could happen as soon as this Thursday. He could come out. Shelley be down there. He could come out and he could say, "All right, I'm cashing in. I'm using option C." And how cool would that be too? So, yeah, but an amazing match between Josh and Alex Shelley, and Alex, just the proverbial veteran, the guy who's been there for a long time, and it was a great match between those two.
Yeah.
Just
And I say this, and this is a little bit funny now because some of the thought processes that I had when I was talking about that. But when they were bringing back Bully and you were seeing a lot of the nostalgia happen, I was like, I wonder if they take their story and go back kind of to the beginning, which would be in TNA, and them facing off against one another. I love those matches that they had. So maybe we get back to that. I would say it wouldn't surprise me if they start building it now, but I say after we get through Hard to Kill, maybe that heats up a little bit.
yeah, I would agree. Excuse me, I was taking a drink. But yeah, no, I agree. And then Jeff, we go over a little bit about of course, the Mickey and Trinity match. Another great match. Another really good match between those two. Both of them at times looked as if they're going to get the wins. Trinity had Mickey locked up in that submission hold more than once, and then finally, and how, man, what better way for a legend to put another person over, not just have them pin them, but tap them out. I mean, now she's tapped out Deonna Purrazzo. She's tapped out Mickey James. These are huge names, and what a ride for Trinity this has been. And now, I don't think, Jeff, it's any question that she's on top of that amazing knockouts division, and it's going to take a pretty huge effort if it's going to be Jordan. It's going to take a pretty huge effort from Jordan Grace to knock her down.
Yeah, I mean, you got the rub from the legend
Yep.
last night, and that's it was a great match. I want to say that it was definitely a great match. Um, I think that that win, if you think about it like a superhero movie, you've got to set up your superhero to go against this unstoppable villain. Well, right now, sitting in that villain role, which she's not a heel or anything, but she's sitting as that opposition. for Trinity. And I mean, for goodness sake, she took out a TNA Impact legend, Bully Ray. First knockout to win the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. I mean, it's basically a movie script, right? That's what we've got here. We got to get the Hard to Kill to see how it plays out. But I think this is a perfect opportunity for a couple things. If you want to have Trinity be your champion for the next 6 months or so, she's going to bring a lot of eyes to your division and your program. So yeah, why not? But you can also make the change, and Jordan Grace has been for the last several years the face of that division, in my opinion, and could continue to be going forward. So I just think that it's a really cool story that they're playing out here. I'm good with either one being champion. It'd be interesting if Trinity ended up staying with them longer, which I hope is the case because I know she loves the division. But it would be cool to see her go a full year. So go from Slammiversary to Slammiversary as champion. But I can see them doing some big things with Jordan Grace in 2024.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know just a little quick thing on that is, people are saying, well, what's next for Mickie James? Well, my guess would be, look, her husband is a, he's in charge of SmackDown. Of course, Nick Aldis, if you didn't know that, of course, he's Mickie James' husband. He is now with WWE. He's the commissioner of SmackDown, essentially. So, would it surprise me at this point if she stays or if she heads to WWE? No. I'm not sure how they would use her. Maybe, backstage producer, maybe she's going to do some producing. That's what Nick was doing before this. I had said, which would be, I think, a cool idea is if they had some kind of kind of like what Steph used to do. Kind of the woman in charge of the women's side of things. I could see that. I would think that'd be a great place for Mickie to be if she decided to go to WWE. And I would imagine, and maybe even as soon as next year, she'd get inducted into the Hall of Fame. But sadly, it could have been Mickey's last match in Impact, and I'm sure we'll hear more about that. They did say, Ray Walt said last night, what's next for Mickie James? I'm sure we'll probably hear that. We'll probably hear from her possibly this coming Thursday to go over that too. So,
and Joe, I want to bring this up too because C brings up that point, and I was of the same mindset as you are until I saw that darn "We're Back" picture. I want to bring it back up.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Hey, I saw Steve's comment. That's true.
Look who's prominently placed there.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she sticks around a little bit longer.
Maybe she will. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I didn't really study that graphic. I've seen it, but I didn't really look at everybody that was on there. But yeah, they certainly probably wouldn't include her on there if they weren't going to keep her. So yeah, no, it could very well be. She could continue there. And the legends of the business, they get to a point where there's nothing else they have to accomplish. There's nothing else they need to do because they've done it all. And at this point, where she's going to probably get a lot of satisfaction is to do what she did last night and to put these women that are going to be the next generation, going to be the next ones that are going to carry TNA forward, to put them over and make them look good. And so she could be at that point in her career where that's what she's going to do. So yeah, hey, listen, I love Mickey's. I've said it before and I'll say it again. She's my favorite women's wrestler of all time. So if I keep seeing her, I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
Joe, Mark asked a really good question before we move on to the next.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
He's saying, here's a question for the both of you. Now that TNA is coming back, do you see at some point WWE doing something with TNA? We know that there's been a working relationship between the two companies at times.
Mark, listen, we live in a world of open doors. We wouldn't have seen a lot of this stuff years ago. You had you had Impact working with AEW with the Kenny Omega stuff, and you had, so some crossing over there. You had Impact working with New Japan, AEW working with New Japan, Mickey showing up at the Rumble. So there, you know what I'll say to that, Mark. I can't give you yes or no because I don't know. Because it's a lot of inner working stuff that has to go on there, licensing rights, this and all that business that only lawyers know about. But I would say to stay tuned because the wrestling business is changing. And especially with things like that, then 100%, I would certainly say that I wouldn't be surprised if that was a possibility. Because yes, James Chadwick said with Triple H in charge as possible, he seems to have a different kind of mentality, right? Where it's a new mentality, it's a fresh mentality. Would Vince have done it? Probably not. But then again, hey, Vince would do what's best for the business. So but I think it certainly is possible. Jeff, what are your thoughts on
it? C brings up a good point.
I saw that.
Yeah, I think it's all at this point in business, because it doesn't seem that some folks like to play fair or nice in the sandbox. We'll say. I think certain alliances can be formed out of pettiness, and that may happen. Who knows? But I can say this. The only thing I want right now is I just want TNA Impact, whatever you want to call it. I just want to see them succeed on their own. I want to see them flourish because a flourishing, well done TNA pushes WWE and AEW and NWA to be better. You know who that benefits? All of us fans who are watching wrestling for hours and hours on end every week. So I think we should want to see them do it well on their own, pick up momentum, make everyone better. And then if certain relationships happen down the road, they happen. But if they don't, you've got several companies on top of their games because they see the others as competition. And that's what we should want as wrestling fans. We shouldn't want others to fail because we have allegiance to that brand or that company. It should be about everyone succeeding and doing well so it pushes other people to do better. That's what the competition should be for.
Yes. Yeah, no doubt. We're all happier wrestling fans when all of wrestling is out there and flourishing, like Jeff said. It just, remember, I said it wasn't that long ago when it was one name in the game, and that was it. And not to say that they didn't do well, but what it did was it made it a point where if you weren't in WWE, where were you? You were in the indies or you weren't working. And that didn't work out. We saw the roster cuts, the people who were being let go. And so, that it's always better when there's competition and when the competition is good. And so, yes, totally 100% agree.
Yeah.
We touched on the Mike Bailey match. All we can tell you about this is phenomenal, and go watch it.
Go watch. Like,
Just
our words,
wouldn't do it
our
justice.
words can't do it justice. It just can't, because that match is match of the year contender quality, and Joe put that in his, one of the top matches he's ever seen. I would say is definitely in one of my lists as well. it was just a phenomenal match. I mean, just two of the very best in the world, just just giving us a clinic. Just move after move, building on the intensity, building on the physicality throughout the match. I mean, it was just chef's kiss. Great job.
Yep.
So yeah, great, heck of
Yeah.
a match.
My gosh, that and I was saying because I don't know Ospreay enough. I haven't seen enough of his matches, which I'm sure going to go ahead and do now. Everybody's telling me in the chat, man, you need to do your homework. I do. And of
That
course,
hidden blade that he hit, man.
oh my god, dude, that move that he has is devastating when he does that.
Yeah,
Oh my god, and you hear the slap of that hit the back of the neck, and it's like, oh my god, it's like just devastating. And when he gets that off, he is so quick for as big as he is, and just launches himself across the ring. And it's like, whew, and like, oh my god, it was just insane. But yeah, regardless of where he goes, I really hope he comes to Impact. But regardless of where he goes, I'm gonna have to just go and watch more of his matches because what an absolutely entertaining day! It's definitely we have our awards, of course, show every year, and it'll be coming up soon to the votes and stuff for that. I usually get those out in like November, December, but that's definitely going to be on the list for match of the year. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about it. But tremendous show overall, guys. It really was. I know it's a little harder to watch someone fight because you got to pay for the pay for the pay-per-view and it or YouTube, whichever. They do charge for this one. So maybe if you want to do it and you just didn't have the money, and I get it, it's they're not cheap. But maybe wait a few days and it'll go down in price and you could pick it up and watch it, but you won't be disappointed. It was really an amazing night of wrestling, capped off by just an incredible announcement that we just did not see coming. So amazing.
Yeah. Great stuff.
Yep.
Let's go from TNA. I got to get used to saying that. I did get corrected earlier in the chat, so I got to get used to saying TNA. We'll go from TNA to SmackDown. A little bit of a recap from SmackDown.
Yeah, man. Last week SmackDown, of course. We're talking. I think the biggest thing, probably some of the biggest things to come out of that, or of course the biggest thing to come out of it, the whole story about John Cena. There's so many people asking now today. He's being cryptic about it. Is he retiring? Came out and saying he hasn't won. I didn't realize it either. He hadn't won a match in like what, 6 years.
Yes, it's 2018, I think he said.
Incredible when you think about that, right? I mean, he doesn't wrestle full time, of course, and he's not wrestling a ton, but he hasn't won a single match in that long period of a time. So, now there's people online on Twitter and whatnot saying, is he done? Is he really going to hang it up? But there's people saying he's released some cryptic stuff saying that no, it seems like there was a thing with Leonardo DiCaprio from, I can't remember what the name of the movie was.
Wall Street.
Is that what that? Yes, that's what it was. And that kind of refers to the fact that no, he's not indeed retiring. And then this whole thing, Jeff, I got to get your thoughts because we haven't had a chance to talk about this. What are your thoughts on this whole thing with Roman and LA Knight now? Because we've had people in our community saying, I think even Jody mentioned this, is this just too soon?
Well, Joe,
and I think we have a segue for that.
We might have a segment in our show where we get to do just that and have that conversation.
Well, we'll say that.
But yeah, we'll get to that. But I will say this, regardless of what you think about it, that LA Knight Paul Heyman interaction was pretty dang good. And I can tell you that the crowd is really, really, really behind LA Knight. And I just love the fact of how over he is. And honestly, a lot of it he did on his own. And I think in the past that wouldn't have been rewarded. but now I think it's being rewarded because the fans let the people in charge know, hey, we got this dude's back. This dude is special.
Yep.
Ride the wave.
Yep. Absolutely. And he is, he's built himself up. And I was talking to someone in work today about wrestling, and he's a big WWE fan, and he said, what the crazy thing, I hadn't seen him in a little while, and we were both fans of Bray's, and he said, what's crazy about all this is where this kind of probably started for him is that Bray put him over. And and that whole thing, obviously, didn't win the match, but still, with everything Bray did, and now look where he is. Yeah, that's a hell of a legacy for him, and to see LA Knight just do what he's going to do. So yeah, we'll put a pin in that. We'll talk about that more later. But yeah, man, the whole thing with and you can see where they're going with the bloodline thing too now. Jimmy Uso is cocky. He's doing his own thing. He's really not listening to Roman anymore. He's Roman with that comment about, you think you're the quarterback now, huh?
Yeah.
That kind of says it all. Jimmy's just doing whatever he wants, and then Jeff, we got the Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce confrontation.
Did we now?
Yeah, so I can kind of say, is this leading to War Games? We're gonna have a SmackDown versus Raw War Games, saying that he's gonna find Jimmy. I love too when he said that, and Jimmy just goes, he looks at me, and goes, yee. He just after he told me he was getting fined 10,000, he just goes, yee. But Nick Aldis, man, throwing his weight around, man. Nick isn't gonna take any crap. And even Adam Pearce, he's like, you get out too. Not just him, but you're out too. And he's like, you're kicking me out of here. And he's like, yes.
Yeah. Like I said what I said.
Yep. You're out, dude.
Conrad, the bloodline, he's spot on. He said it's Goodfellas, and Jimmy is Joe Pesci. So I think we just dropped Joe. So I'm gonna talk until hopefully he can get back on. But I think I like the idea of Nick Aldis doing this, because to me it sets up a rivalry between the two shows. So then when we get the War Game stuff and we get show versus show, it means a little bit more. It matters, and it's not just like a one-off thing. It's if we're going to get brand versus brand, I want it to actually mean something. And what better way than to have the two leaders of those brands kind of having a little bit of beef, right, Joe?
Yeah, without a doubt, man. Without a doubt, that's how you build up War Games. That's a classic thing. When you have those two, those two GMs, like you have them, and that was always the thing. You have the competition between the two GMs, and that's a perfect way to do it. And yeah, I absolutely love that 100%. I think that's great. I think it's great that Nick it seems like he's going to be the, listen, I'm no nonsense, man. I'm no BS. I'm not taking any of this crap from anyone. And that's perfect for him. Perfect for his personality. Adam's always been kind of a little more laid back. He takes a little more, like these wrestlers get in his face and he just kind of blows them off. Yeah, okay. He's a little more of the softer hearted guy. And I think it's perfect. They're going to form two teams who are going to fight for their GM, and I like it, man. That's a big part of Survivor Series, and that's what makes it fun. You're going to get the teams, of course, that are going to team up with one another. We already saw little hints to that. Is the Judgment Day going to team up with the Bloodline? Are we going to get that happening against whoever else, whoever it might be, Cody maybe, and maybe KO and Sammy and a whole bunch of others on the other side. So we could see that. Which may implode too, because when two big egos that get out there, the Judgment Day and Bloodline probably aren't going to coexist very well. But yeah, that's what sets up this stuff, and that's what makes Survivor Series fun, Jeff.
Yeah, I agree. And James Grant asking the question, which I think is a great question, says, my only question is, if they're doing SmackDown versus Raw War Games, is it going to be a classic brand type, or is it babyface versus heel teams? I'm gonna give you a challenge, James Grant, and chat. Book that match right now. You got War Games. Let's say you have a heel team and you have a face team. I don't care who you put, which show you pull the heels or faces from. Just put us together a team. Let us know in the chat.
Yeah, go ahead and do it. Yep, go ahead and do it. But that's what makes Survivor Series fun. That's part of it. Survivor Series has always kind of been a you don't get necessarily the big championship matches. It's the fun of it, really. It's you're coming up on the end of the year, right? The road to WrestleMania doesn't begin for a couple months, December and then into January. So it's kind of their last pay-per-view. They have a little fun with it. And they have this little bit of competition. Yeah, like I said, it makes it fun. And I love I love what SmackDown's doing, Jeff. I think Nick Aldis is great there. And again, I can't wait to see when Paul and Roman try to intimidate him.
Yeah.
That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, that's gonna be good. I'm loving what they're doing with Nick right now, and I like his demeanor and how he's carrying himself. So yeah, I think I'm waiting on that interaction. I really am.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
What's up next?
All right, up next, we talked about this guy a little bit earlier, but he made news saying that Impact was a potential home for him when his contract is up.
And I love how quick the people on the wrestling Twitter, of course, or X, whatever the hell you want to call it, are right away pawning this off. Oh my God, he's just saying that to be nice. He's just doing that to be, he doesn't mean that. There's no way he's going to go there, blah, 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 blah. Listen, he's one of the world's best. Okay. He can pick and choose, I'm sure, his suitor and where he wants to go. And he's that good. And so is it going to matter who throws the who backs up the, you want to quote CM Punk, who banks up the Brinks truck? I'm sure a little bit of that will matter. Sure. The money, sure, it'll count for something. The whole reason why this guy didn't want to be over here, and I read up on it, was the fact that he didn't want to necessarily live in the United States. So obviously that's changed, and changed, right? He's 30 years old, and things change. So, but I wouldn't be, especially after what we got last night, I wouldn't be so quick to pawn this off. Because, and I like what Jeff said about this in the chat yesterday. He said he may be very well looking to go where there's going to be matchups for him. Well, that's important, right? Where he can show off his talents. People who, and I'm not saying, listen, I'm not going up against anyone else. I'm not bashing AEW. They have hugely talented wrestlers there. And of course, WWE know what WWE has. Can you imagine Will Ospreay and Cody Rhodes? Can you imagine Will Ospreay and Seth Rollins? I mean, tremendous. Tremendous.
Can keep going.
Yeah, we just go right down the list. Wherever he goes, he's going to make them a much better company. It would be a signing similar to what we're seeing with Jade Cargill, wherever this guy decides to go. And we all know too that Impact tends to sign people maybe to smaller term contracts. We've seen people do like 2 year here and there. So maybe he starts off in Impact a couple of years there, right? And we have more matchups with him against Speedball McBailey, against Josh Alexander, which, by the way, a little cheap plug, but we're getting that this week, by the way. So
Yeah, they had that interaction backstage.
this coming Thursday, we're
Oh,
getting that match, by the way. So yeah, but he might be able to do that. Just do it for a couple of years, and then and then make a decision, decide where he wants to go. Okay, well, I want to I want to be in a bigger company. I want to go to WWE. I want to go but I again, we go back to this is where the TNA name I think will help, because now you could say, well, hey, I'm in TNA, and it makes a difference. So, but Jeff, this guy's just tremendous, and wherever he goes, like I said, it's they're going to benefit from it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, wherever he goes, he's gonna have incredible matches. If if you haven't seen much of him, again, go do a little bit of homework. So if you if you need a little introduction, you can start with last night's matchup and work backwards if you want to. But wherever he goes, he's going to be incredible. And if he ends up in TNA in 2024, you know what? Game on, because I think that and we have this as a topic later too. But I think if that happens, that might open some eyes a little bit, change some minds.
Absolutely. So, all right, let's move on. We spent a lot of time with the TNA stuff, so maybe we'll move on a little bit. Oh man, but how can we move on here? Yeah. What can you say? Sting says final match will be at AEW Revolution. Icon, without a doubt. Nobody has lived up to that name more than this man has. Legend. I listened to Busted Open. They had an episode about him. Bully Ray talking about Halloween Havoc and the matches that he saw. He made oh god, he had a funny comment about how a young Sandman was in the audience at one of Sting's matches dressed up as Sting. Could you imagine? The Sandman dressed up as Sting.
Oh man.
This guy has been in wrestling through so many decades and done so much for. Bully also told a really heartwarming story. Said that he was in the back and Sting was putting on his makeup. And Bully walked back, obviously younger than he is, a lot younger, and said to him, he's like, could you put some of that on me? Could you put makeup on me? And Sting's like, absolutely. And he said, and there he is. He said, I could not take the smile off of my face. He said, when he was putting makeup on my face, and he said, all I'm thinking is, I have Sting putting freaking makeup on my face. And it was such a good story. And all of them, Tommy Dreamer and others talking about, he just is just a genuine good dude. And they were, I think Dreamer talked about one of his things was he was wrestling in an arena with him and he was signing autographs, and the arena was pretty big, and he said he had a line of people waiting for his autograph all the way like around 2 or 3 blocks where they were. And he said, of course, they told him, they're like, you're going to have to cut this. And Sting's like, no, absolutely not. And he said he waited there until that whole line was gone to do all the signings. He said, I'm not, no. He said, I'm not disappointing anyone. So he's just one of the greats. My fondest memory of him will be Crow's Thing, obviously from the NWO that was such a good storyline, and such a, and again, yeah, our chat, reminds me about credit Scott Hall, because Scott Hall was the one who came up with the vigilante character, and it was brilliant. It came out right around the time of the movie The Crow, which was such a dark horse kind of a movie, and a vengeful spirit movie, and then he comes back as this, as this character, and it was just brilliant, brilliant. Coming out of the rafters with the baseball bat and the long black leather jacket and the face paint, and he didn't talk, and it was just, it was just so brilliant. And then going on from there, and doing things in TNA, and then going over to WWE for a little bit. And I know people look upon that and say, yeah, that wasn't his greatest run, right? Yeah, a lot of people wanted him to wrestle the Undertaker, and those two men talk about that, and they say how they both wanted it to happen. It just never could. There was just never, they never just got together, and it's just a shame we didn't see that. But I will. Man, it'll be a sad day, and this pay-per-view is going to get this, obviously, next year, but this pay-per-view is going to get a ton of views. They're going to get a lot of people watching, and it won't be just for the wrestling. It's going to be because a legend, Jeff, is calling it quits.
Yeah. I mean, this guy, man, obviously growing up in the South, I got to see a lot of Sting, and even from his Blade Runner days, I got to see him, and man, it's just, it's crazy, because it's like you watch someone's career throughout, and the different phases that they've gone through. And that's why I wanted to put kind of the different ways that people know Sting. And, I could put up other pictures, but, I always think about the surfer kind of gimmick, and, and the way he looked in with the colorful trunks and the face paint, and it was just really cool. And then, Joe brought up the Crow kind of inspired Sting, and that was, I mean, just a complete 180 from what he was doing. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Really, really enjoyed that character, and really, honestly, for me, Sting has been a hero, and even outside of wrestling, um, seeing him be so open about his faith. He you and I forget the name of the movie all the time, but I have it saved so I can go back and watch it. But he was in a movie, and some people say, well, it's a cheesy movie, and that's fine. But he was in a movie, and he played this role, and I'll find the name of the movie and put it out there for people to be able to go back and watch it. But he played this role that was a complete opposite of what he is, and it was just a really well-made movie, just, driving a point home about faith and different things. So but for me as a wrestling fan, this dude is one of my tops, and he's he means a lot. I mean, I remember trying to dress up like him for a Halloween one year. So that goes to show you how much the dude means to me.
And let's not forget Joker Sting too, because that was insane.
Yeah.
I went into an episode of that, and that was probably around the time when I wasn't watching that very much. And I remember tuning into an episode, and I'm like, what the hell did Sting do? What is this? And then I'm thinking, oh my God, he's the Joker. And I'm looking at the makeup, and I'm like, he's like a twisted version of the Joker. And I'm like, wow, okay. And that's what he was when you watch the promos. And of course I had to stick around and check them out then. And I'm watching his promos, and of course, he's laughing, he's doing, and it was, and of course now they call it Joker Sting, and it was, the dude just could do it all. And like Jeff said, he's a genuinely good dude. He's a nice guy. He's a religious man. He lived his life well, and you don't hear a bad word about this dude. He when he calls it quits will be inducted into any Hall of Fame that they have out there. Whether AEW, I don't know, maybe AEW starts their own and they have their inaugural Hall of Fame entry be Sting. But you can guarantee that he could be inducted into WWE. He could be. So yeah. He's just been brilliant and so much fun to watch. His finisher, the death drop. Oh, such a brilliant move and a great finisher. You knew when you saw that, it was over. It's over. It was one of those things like Jake Roberts and Jake Roberts DDT. Yes. He does that, you're done. And so, yeah, just kudos on what is an amazing career. And you know what, Jeff? You know what I like most about this is he gets to step away on his own merit.
Yep.
No injuries. No, now there could be bumps and bruises, of course. He's 63 years old, but no major injuries or anything like that that's causing him to do it. He's doing it his way, and he's leaving on his own terms.
Yeah, that's the great thing about this is that he's in relatively good health, which is good. But yeah, I mean he's a Hall of Famer everywhere else. WWE, he's already there. TNA, he's in there. So maybe I know there's that announcement that Tony Khan has or a gift that he has for Sting. Maybe that's it. Maybe he's establishing the Hall of Fame and Sting is his first inductee. I would love that if Tony Khan did that. That would be a great gesture, I think.
They kind of like jewelry there, right? With Max, of course, Friedman with his ring. Maybe he gets a ring. Maybe Sting will get some sort of ring. That'd be all right. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. What'll be said about the legend? Hey, who knows? We'll certainly be talking about this again after of course, this pay-per-view ends. We'll be talking about this and maybe someday we'll do a sort of Sting's greatest hits kind of show or maybe do some kind of a pay-per-view watch along with something with Sting. So we'll do something like that down the road. All right, my friend. What's next?
Do one of his many great matches with Ric Flair.
There you go. Perfect.
So sell or no sell time.
All right, let's go. Yeah, we're gonna skip grievances because honestly, I can't even really think of any. There's not often that we do that, and I know everybody likes it, but we just had such an amazing weekend and such great news coming out of Impact with the TNA stuff and a great pay-per-view that we're really just not gonna do that tonight. There's just really no grievances for us, so we're gonna go to sell or no sell next.
Let's do it.
All righty, let's go. Now, you guys know how to play along with this. You play along in the chat. Let us know what you guys think. Sell or no sell this, the topic. So play along with us. And Jeff, what's up first?
All right. So up first, we have rebranding to TNA is the right move for the company. Sell or no sell?
There you go. All right. So you guys play along in the chat. Let us know what you think. And I think for me, while it was very shocking that it happened, at this point in the company, Jeff, I'm going to say I'm going to sell it. So I'm going sell here. And my reasoning for it is pretty simple. I just think that you have to move onward and upward. And they had already said they were planning on doing it anyway with the improvements to their Nashville home and then the things that they were going to do with the shows and the production and stuff like that. So the fact that this was just a shocker, though, I don't think anyone saw this coming, and I certainly didn't. So, but the rebrand to that name, the classic name, yes, sell it all day. I think it's a great move for them, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen with it. What about you?
Yeah, I'm going to play this for you.
There you go.
And ditto for me. And I don't need to go into any other detail because guess what? We already have.
Yeah,
So
we have.
I don't need to. We'll move on to the next topic because
That's the easy one.
yeah, that's the easy one for me. All right. So we talked about this a little earlier. Let's get into it. Sell or no sell? It's too soon to put LA Knight in a program with Roman Reigns.
Oh man, this is a good one. This is a good one because I guess the question you've got to ask yourself is he going to win the match? And I think it's a legit question. And I think when, you know, when people were saying that they had their reservations about this, I think it's really is a legit question. Is Roman going to lose his title after all of this stuff, right? And we all know Paul Heyman's words. Well, we're only in the third inning of this. All of that is LA Knight going to drop this title to Roman, and is he going to do it now at Crown Jewel? And the answer to this question is kind of weird because it's too soon to put LA Knight in a program with Roman Reigns. You know, as much as I love the dude, I'm gonna say yes to this. I'm gonna say yes. I think it is too soon. As I'm gonna sell it. I think it is too soon. And the reason for this is not because of what I think or don't think of LA Knight. It's what I think or don't think of Roman and the stuff with Cody. Is that just going to just fade away? If LA Knight wins it, unless and your other options are this. We all know Roman kind of goes away from time to time, right? So could Roman go to Crown Jewel, drop the title, LA Knight wins it, and then he gets it back? But see, then where does that all happen? It's not going to happen at the end of this year. So that would mean that LA Knight would hold it through the Rumble, right? Or then does Roman get his rematch at the Royal Rumble? And does Roman win it right back? But how does that make him look? That not very good, right? He's going to hold the belt for a couple months. Is that going to satisfy his fans? Is that going to make his run up the ladder look good if that happens? I kind of don't think so. When they want to give this guy that title, I think he should be set up for a pretty good long run with it. And I just don't know, with all the other factors involved, with Cody being out there. We saw a stare down with them, right? Recently, we saw Cody and Roman get face to face. So I don't know if that's done. Cody could win the Rumble, like he did last year. Come out and say, "Hey, I need to prove myself again. I'm winning this Rumble." Could win the Rumble and could challenge Roman again at WrestleMania. So that's why I'm saying yes. I think it is too soon right now to put the title on him, because I think if they do, I don't think he's going to have it very long, and I don't think that's going to be very satisfying to fans that are rooting for him and that want him to have that championship. So that's my reasoning behind it. Go ahead, Jeff. What do you think?
I'm gonna say this to your point. I think now people have an unrealistic expectation of what a championship reign should or could be, dependent on length of reign.
True.
Because we've seen this Roman Reigns title run last as long as it has. We see Gunther on the reign that he's had. So it's like, if your favorite gets a title, you expect them to have it for at least 6 months. Right? Yep. So, it kind of sets up this very difficult conversation, I think, for some people. I would say, and I'm kind of dancing around this because this is one that I'm waffling on a little bit, but I think a crazy way to do this, and I know I'm gonna get somebody saying, well, that's not finishing the story. What if they just got really, really wild and said, we're gonna put our two hottest guys, I'll say two of our hottest guys, because you got to throw Seth in there. We're gonna take two of our hottest guys, and they're gonna main event WrestleMania. So what if LA Knight wins? And what if LA Knight makes it to WrestleMania 40 and it's LA Knight versus Cody Rhodes? How would people feel about that? I'm not saying that it's going to happen. It's just a wild idea, like a conspiracy theory I had late one night. I was watching something. I was like, what if they did that? I wonder how people would feel about it. But you know, that's just a wild idea that, you know, crossed my mind. So it would be interesting, Joe, if we got there. But I guess since in the sense of, in the spirit of answering the question, and now that I've waffled on and on, I'm gonna say it is too soon, because I would love to see him win another title, elevated, and then take a chance at the world title. But I don't know, man. He's so freaking over.
He is.
Like, this is a tough. You know what? I'm gonna. This is the first time in the history of this segment that this is gonna happen. I am undecided.
Oh, we made history. Jeff, I got a kind of crazy scenario for you.
Okay.
How about this? Crown Jewel, this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We all know there's a certain individual who likes to show up for Crown Jewel.
Mm-hmm.
What if Mr. Heyman put in a call to another certain individual to come and take care of a problem for him? And he comes in and takes care of one LA Knight. Now, we all know, again, I mentioned this earlier about Mickie James. Brock is at a point in his career where he seems to be putting people over. We saw him do it with Cody, then do it very well. So what if they're going to throw Brock at LA Knight for a little bit and they have him come down? It would not make him look bad in the least, because he could be right on the verge, looking like he's going to take out Roman. Or, I mean, you could even do it without Brock too. You can do it with Solo if you want to do it that way as well. But we've kind of seen that before. I'm just kind of thinking out of the box, because I know Brock likes to show up at these big pay-per-views. Now, I know that I've read the article saying that Brock's he's done for a little bit. Probably won't come back until the Rumble or next year at Mania, whatever. But you just never know. And I'm just kind of thinking, it would be kind of cool, because if he did, and he came out and he beat him up, and Roman wins because of it, it's not going to hurt him in the least, because it wasn't through any fault of his own that he lost the match. So I just thinking a little out loud, but I think that'd be a fun scenario.
Yeah, that would be, and that would protect some things. I think that's where a lot of people are concerned, is if he takes an L to Roman at this point, does it hurt his momentum?
Yep.
I think that's where the concern is.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
why not protect that a little bit longer? I just put something in the chat, but I think, and I hope I'm not bursting anyone's bubble when I say this, but LA Knight is not in his 20s or 30s. So,
right.
I know a lot of people have just been introduced to him, and that's wonderful. But I would say that if we're going to see a run, I think it has to start trending that way within the next 6 months or so. Because he's not it's not like he's fresh into the business. He's a veteran. He's been around for a while in different places. So Um, I would love to see him. I would love to see him in the main picture, and maybe if they do pull that crazy idea, then I'd love it. I'll say that I wouldn't complain if that's the direction that they go in.
Yep. Just out there, of course, just out there. He just never. Brock tends to just show up in weird places, and so you never know. But yeah, well, let's see where it goes. Let's see what's going to happen with this. The whole inning things with baseball too doesn't necessarily mean, a lot of people are thinking, oh my God, Roman's going to have this title for like 5 more years. I don't think that's true. I think that he's just saying that involved in the storyline, they're in inning 3, which means that there's just a lot of other pieces and parts going with the storyline. We all listen. Inning 4 could be this whole thing with Jimmy. There's just something weird about Jimmy and what's happening there. So that could come back to, who even knows, man. Jimmy might be playing a part in this.
I think he's a mold for somebody.
Yeah. I agree. I think so too. I think he's acting on his own and things like that. So I think that could be inning number 4. So, but I don't think that just means that Roman's going to have that title that much longer. So, all right, man. That's the last topic.
All right, last topic. Let's see. Will Ospreay signing with TNA Impact Wrestling will put the company in a better position to gain more visibility, Joe? Sell or no sell?
Yeah, I think this is a pretty easy sell here. Absolutely. I mean, it's a huge name, very world-renowned name. A guy who's been, he's been on AEW. He wrestled Chris Jericho. He's been in New Japan and had some huge matches there, and then he's been on Impact Wrestling. So, world-renowned. And would it put them in a better position to gain more visibility? Yeah, without a doubt. That is big news. It's headline news in the wrestling business. If this dude signed with them, you would see this all over the wrestling publications as their main storyline. That Will Ospreay signs with Impact. Yes, absolutely, Jeff. I think this is an easy one for me. It's a sell for sure.
So that's for Joe, and again, ditto for me. If it happens, yeah, he's gonna bring more eyes there for sure. So,
yep,
I don't think I need to say more about it. Joe, I was gonna text you and ask you this, but are you okay? Do I need to skip over the next segment and just go to favorite moments?
No, I'm okay. We're good.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna do something a little bit different. Normally we book wrestlers and and it's about current programs that they're in, right? Well, since we talked about a retirement, why not book the retirement match of Sting? And he's not from St. Louis. I know I forgot to change that. I stole from my Randy Orton. Listen, it's a lot. That's all I'll say. But yeah, so Sting, let's book his retirement match. Who do you want to see Sting go up against at AEW Revolution?
Oh my goodness. I mean, we've seen teases of this a little bit. I mean, I have to think it's got to be Chris Jericho. I think it's got to be Jericho, right? I mean, he emulates him with the bat that he comes down to the ring with in that way, and we saw them kind of clash the bats together in that little bit of a thing we got there too. I think it's got to be Jericho. The only thing, the counterpoint to that would be, well, does Sting want to put over someone young? Does he want to make a name for someone to have them beat him in his retirement match? Because indeed, whoever does is going to be remembered for a long time. as a trivia question, who beat, who did Sting beat, or, who, I highly doubt he loses his retirement match. So who did Sting beat in his final match in a wrestling ring? But man, I just think that that matchup is just too good. And I think that I just think with thinking of the wrestlers they have there, and the people that are there. I mean, you've got other veterans that are there too. You've got Jeff Jarrett. You've got, obviously other guys that are there from WWE that really don't really wrestle, like Big Show and Mark Henry and stuff like that. But I think, Jeff, I have to go with Jericho. I think, to me, it just makes the most sense.
So I'm gonna do this. Mark gave me the inspiration for this. Mark joins us a lot from Facebook.
Yep.
Mark, I want you to put your idea into the chat, because I didn't think about this, but we kind of talked this out a little bit. So I'm gonna throw the name Christian out there.
Oh yeah, great point. Yep.
And
Yep.
the reason why, and I don't want to steal Mark's thunder, so I'm gonna kind of, dance around it. What does Christian have right now? And what do you like? What's synonymous with Crow Sting and the networks that Sting was on? Could they possibly? And I'm not seeing Mark's comment, so I'm probably just going to go for it, Mark. Sorry, I'll put your comment on screen. But what if they did this? And I'm not saying that they are, because I think it's going to be Darby. I think it's going to be Darby Allin. Because I think that I don't think Sting takes to a person like he has Darby without seeing this in the foreground and saying, okay, I can put this guy over. I can put this guy in a different light by working alongside him, but I can catapult him into the next stratosphere if he's my retirement match.
Yeah, good point. Yep.
Just my line of thinking there. But what if they went with the deal of having Christian and Sting be the final match? And what if Sting beats him? And that's a way to reintroduce a new title, like a redesigned title. Because if I'm being honest, there are some people that say that it passed around like a hot potato and there were some things that they didn't really like with how the title has been done. That's people's opinions. It is what it is. What if they retire it, come back with a new design, and kind of relaunch it in a way that kind of pays respect to Sting and his legacy, not only in the business, but on TBS and TNT throughout the decades, but kind of give it a fresh update? What do you think about that, Joe?
That's a great idea. Yeah, I can see that, and I see a lot of the chatter saying Darby too. Yeah, it would make sense, right? It would finish the story. He's been with Darby the whole entire time, so putting him over in his last match would certainly vault him up even more than what he already is. Obviously, Sting, likes him. He's doing things with him and for him. So yeah, that would make a lot of sense. And then having a title kind of out there, wow, that'd be a cool design. Could you imagine a design title like with his logo and stuff on there? Yeah, oh, man, that would
be awesome.
Yeah, it would. Really would. It would look incredible. Yeah, I can totally see that. Yep, I can totally see that. Makes a ton of sense. And AEW does like their the stuff with the belts and stuff like that. They do a lot of that. So yeah,
there's Mark's comment there on screen.
I'd be 100% down with that. I think that would be phenomenal. Let me see. So what I was saying is that I was listening to Wrestle Talk, and they were saying that when Sting was facing Christian, could it be that Sting could face Christian for the TNT championship? The reason for that is because, with the exception, WWE, Sting has been the face of TNT for the majority of his career. It would make sense. And you know what? I'm kind of even forgetting about Edge. I mean, Sting and Edge would be tremendous as well. So if you want to go the veteran route, and I guess it all depends on how they're going about it. Is he going to win it? Or is he going to give another wrestler the rub? Is he going to put somebody over? And I guess you look at it from that standpoint. If he's going to win it, then it would make sense for him to fight one of the vets. So like go with Christian, or go with Edge, or go with Jericho. If he's gonna lose, then Darby Allin makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on how he wants to go out. I think, knowing Sting, I think he'd want to put Darby over, honestly.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, listening to you talk about it and everything, it makes a lot of sense. And obviously the chat agrees too. Yep. Love it. Let us know in the comments below the video if there's anybody else you think that Sting should take on in his retirement match that I'm sure will be built up big time. So let us know. Let us know in the comments below the video what you think. If you have any other choices to make, or if there's anybody else you would rather see Sting face for that big retirement match that he's got coming up. All right, man. Are we at favorite moments?
Favorite moments of the week, folks. That's where we are. We're at favorite moments of the week.
Top 3 favorite moments of the week. Oh my gosh. This is this is gonna be tough. But I think I could say a lot of them are gonna come from the same place. So all right, guys. You know the drill. Those of you in chat, please share your favorite moments with us. And we will start with number 3. So, Jeff, what's your number 3 favorite moment of the week?
People are going to think I'm a little bit weird on this, but I'm going to explain why. And it's going to be a segue from Sting. The fact that he's getting to do it on his own terms.
Yeah.
People don't realize how much of a blessing that is. And the man's in his 60s, okay? And he's had a long, decorated Hall of Fame career. Let him do his thing.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm happy for him.
Yep. Not many do get to go out that way. They go out for other reasons, injuries, and just can't do it anymore, and other reasons. So, yep, let him walk off into the sunset. Yeah, brilliant, love it. Jim Gore, interesting one here. NWA getting a CW deal is pretty cool. Yeah, absolutely is.
Aren't you Jim Gore, because that you stole my thunder? That's going to be number 2. But anyway,
that is very cool. And we talked about this a little bit in streams, but good for them, man. I've always been a fan of NWA and what they do, and loved it since we were watching it on the YouTube channel and stuff some years back and stuff during COVID. And I always thought they were awesome. I loved the smaller stage, like classic kind of look that they would have on their shows. Just always enjoyed it. I was cleaning one of my cabinets the other day, and you know what I found? My question mark mask. Which oh man, that just brought back a flood of memories and stuff. And of course, question mark and Josephus was one of my favorites there. But yeah, that's huge news for them. And the CW is no slouch, man. It surprised me in more ways than one, because I used to watch a lot of stuff on the CW because I watch a lot of the superhero stuff. So the Flash was on there, and Superman and Lois, Supergirl and stuff like that. And they seem to be getting rid of a lot of that programming. So I was kind of surprised when I heard this, because they had said that they were going to go more toward like older folks content, like some the court dramas and things like that they're going to go to. But this, so it kind of surprised me. But hey, I'm down, and I do like the idea that they have that second show where they're going to show some behind the scenes things of what goes on in wrestling. I think that's brilliant. That's a really really cool thing, that you don't often see. It's something different. And that's a great shout out. And when we had said, and if you weren't in the streams when we said it, we're going to watch to see, keep our eyes on that as to when that's going to be on, and how long it'll be. If it's an hour show like they have been doing, and it's on when we have the time to possibly do it, it could be something we might look into putting into our schedule. So keep your eyes on that, because we might very well do that. So good stuff. Let me see if I can read any more of the chat. It's a little harder, so just bear with me. On my phone, it doesn't make it as easy. Yeah, Superman and Lois is back for fourth. It better be after the cliffhanger in the last one. My God, the Doomsday and Superman thing, dude, it was so good. It was way better than the awful one we got in the movie. Let's see. 3 Danielson versus Andrade collision. Deanna has Nick Aldis versus Adam Pearce as number 3. Very nice. Yeah, good call. Aldis makes his debut. Little Silver says Sting's retirement, says James Grant. Tied for number 3 for me. Pierce, Let the Games Begin, and the Impact Hall of Fame. The backstage segment between Aldis and Pierce, number 3, PCO winning Monsters Ball. We haven't talked about that either. That really could have been the last appearance of PCO too. Or maybe we see him Thursday, and that might be it because his contract is up as well as Sami Callihan's. Sting top 3. All right, my number 3, and mine are going to be, like I said, mine are going to be pretty easy because they're all from the same place. My number 3 was the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match, and the surprises we got in there last night. Cardona coming back in, and we know he's not signed there, but still him coming back in there, and showing up and kind of siding with Brian Myers until he turned on him was pretty fun. Hoovy, oh my God, yeah, Juvie, and I haven't seen him for so long, and have him come in, and then I think, and again, this one kind of tops my number 3 list. Their number 3 of that match was the appearance of Sunny Kiss. I heard her on Busted Open, and I really, really am a fan. And I gotta say, man, that dance with her and Bully Ray, oh God. It was so much fun, and Bully, kind of trying to dance along with her and stuff like that. I just thought that was cool. So I'm happy she's there. I think it's a great addition to an already stacked knockouts lineup, and then of course the whole Dango thing at the end is just the in and out, like Jeff said, was like a kind of a semi tribute to Santino. Just thought the whole thing was great, and then of course Jordan Grace winning, which Jeff predicted. A couple other people predicted that as well, but the way they went about it, of course, John Gresham at times, her and her husband were working together, which was kind of neat. But overall, it was good. They mixed a lot of women in the match. Giselle Shaw was in there, and Kylan King was in there, and so they had a lot of women in the match. Which was cool too. So yeah, the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match was number 3 for me, Jeff. So what is your number 2?
Number 2 for me, honestly, this week has really been about survival stories and seeing once great history filled companies kind of going back on an upward trend in terms of people talking about them more. And obviously we've talked at length about TNA, but I think we have to mention NWA getting a TV deal. I'm gonna say this: during the pandemic, NWA was probably my favorite show.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, we watched religiously,
Yep.
and it was so good. It was fun. something for everyone. And, NWA went through a lot of difficult things and just unfortunate things. And I'll say this too, the pandemic was not kind to a lot of businesses and wrestling companies, and it just changed a lot. And some companies were really hurt um, by the pandemic and having to operate in a different way. NWA, despite all the challenges, has continued to push forward.
Yep.
And now they have TV deals. That means we get to see more NWA. I've been a fan of NWA wrestling for years. Watched it a lot growing up in the South. So I want to see NWA doing well. I want to see all companies doing well because, like we mentioned earlier, when other companies are doing well, it makes everyone else try a little bit harder. So yeah, that's my number 2 is seeing NWA get those TV deals with CW, and I'm excited to see what we get.
Yeah, man. You got to think back for those of you in the chat and stuff who didn't watch. Look at the talent that came from there. Thunder Rosa, Ricky Starks, Nick Aldis was there, of course. Just the talent that was on that show is incredible. Of course, Camille, who ended up breaking all kinds of records with the title. It was, and like I said, Josephus, of course, question mark. Just they had so many great people. Pope, of course, was there. It was just such an entertaining show, and it was literally just that hour long. And it was wonderful. The promos they would cut, the stuff like that, the in studio wrestling just brought me back to a time when wrestling was just much simpler. That I would watch it on a Saturday morning, and yeah, it was fantastic. I'm really excited for them as well. My number 2 is who, man. I'm gonna go with Ospreay and Mike Bailey as my number 2. What more can I say about this match? I was just floored. Just watching every move, and if you go back and watch our video and just see, as I'm trying to call this match and stuff like that, I'm just like, oh my God, is he going to kick out of that? And so many times you thought the match was over, and 1, 2, boom, nope, got out of it. 1, 2, boom, nope, got out of it. And just time after time after time, you just never truly knew who was going to win that match. And that is amazing when something like that happens in a wrestling match and the fans are on their feet. The whole aesthetic of that match was just tremendous. As our good friend Tazzy likes to say, the psychology of the match was off the charts, and those two are just such great wrestlers. Both of them are, and it was just a complete show and an amazing wrestling match, which, like I said, immediately vaulted to probably my top 5 matches. Just effort between those, and was just crazy off the charts for me. That's my number 2. All right, let's see if I could read some people's in the chats here. Sunny Kiss debuting at Bound for Glory, said Dylan. Sunny Kiss for Bonus Baby as well. So I love that, seeing Sunny Kiss get love. Io Sky beating Flair again. Yeah, how about a little bit of cheating by Io? I know you're a fan of Io, James, but now she's in on the cheating now, huh? Tegan Knox versus Lyra. Trinity versus Mickey. Yeah, absolutely. Great match there too. Rosemary looking like Joan Jett in the TNA video. Swag fans of Rosemary fan. I hope when NWA moves to CW, hopefully the budget will increase. Corgan had to smash pumpkins in order to get the deal. Nice. But yeah, that's my number 2. So Jeff, we're at our number 1. I'm wondering, do we share the number 1?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure we do.
I think so.
You go ahead and take this one.
My number one is pretty simple, and I'll spell it out for you in letters: TNA. Uh, Total shock, total, just a complete surprise, and didn't see it coming. Didn't know what it was going to be. Didn't know what to expect in those last minutes of the show, and then when I saw the promo, I'm like, "What's going on? What's going on?" And I still thought when that promo was going, I still thought that it was going to bring out some like a wrestler, like some other wrestler that was going to end up showing up in that promo at the. But then when I saw the box, I'm like, what the heck is this? And I love mark out moments. I really do. And that was definitely one marked out hard when I saw TNA come up on there, and it's loved the way it was presented. And then when I saw the video, which we started the show with Scott Demore, and how fired up he was, just amazing. And looking back on this in how many years from now, and saying that this is where it all began, is pretty damn cool, and pretty damn cool that we watched the show that it happened to. So that is my number one, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need to add to that. That's I'm glad to see it back. That's honestly what I'm happy to see, and I think this is going to be good. I do think, yeah, it has to be done well, and I do think that they will do it well. Um, and hopefully we'll have a discussion next year around this time, talking about how much of a hit it's been. Hopefully that's the discussion.
Yep, yep, 100%, 100%. Well, I think we're about ready to wrap her up, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, we are. We're near the end here, but Joe, I got to ask you a question in chat. I'm going to ask you the same.
Shoot.
What was something in wrestling this week, Joe, that made you laugh?
Oh man. Oh, jeez, you're making me think back here. Oh well, let's just go back to the pay-per-view and go with the Dango thing. uh, all that hype. You almost gotta feel bad for the dude, right? With his new promos that he does, I hate wrestling, and he's all down in wrestling and stuff like that. But then he goes and he situates this where he thinks, "Oh my gosh, I'm getting in there at number 20. I've got this big advantage," and then he just comes out and he goes, and I'm like, okay, here we go, number 20, Dango. It's got to be Dango, right? Here we go, and he comes out. And he comes out to the ring with all his fanfare, and he's got his entourage with him, right? He's got Alpha Bravo, and he's got Kozlov with him, right? They're all with him, and he comes out and he goes into the ring, and you think he's gonna take his, I'm just right back out, and I'm like, oh my god, could you imagine now what kind of promo he's gonna have next? This dude, and he kind of is. Even in his promos, he's very level-headed. Like he doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. I think he's gonna get hot. I think he's gonna be hot after this, and the fact that he was embarrassed and he went out quicker than Santino did. So yeah, that made me chuckle. And of course also some of the antics at the Monsters Ball match, as violent as they were, but you almost have to kind of you're kind of like the seeing what you're seeing, and you just see a bed of cement blocks with tacks, and it's like, oh my god, that's just insane. So but yeah, the stuff with Dango I think was hilarious. And what about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna echo that, but I also have to throw this in there. Akira Tozawa.
Oh god, yeah. And his house.
Like, oh, I needed that laugh,
Yep.
and it was just complete. It just completely happened out of the blue for me, and I see it, and I'm just laughing hysterically. And yeah, I mean, obviously seeing Dango end up entering at the prime spot, right? I mean, the prime spot just to get eliminated that quick was pretty funny. But yeah, Kira Tozawa, um, freaking hilarious.
Yeah. Yep. It's funny how they use him now. You know, they always kind of, he was always involved in 24/7. And all the little nuances with him now. Like when he saw, remember when he saw Nia Jax?
Yeah.
That whole, the interaction that he had with her. And because everybody remembers that whole storyline, and he just stood there like in the background, kind of looking. I've said this before and I'll say it again. There's some people that are just good at that. There's people that are just good at comedy, and Akira Tozawa is definitely one of those guys that are just good at that kind of stuff. You know, you need that in your company. You need an R-Truth. You need a Danhausen, let's say. You need that. It provides a smile to people's faces. No matter when you see them on there, you know you're going to get a good laugh out of it. So, yeah. Tozawa is, more than likely never will be a guy who'll be a main eventer. Never will be a guy who'll probably hold a title for, even if he does hold it at all. But he does have that gift to be able to make people smile, and that's important. That's important. So great call. Yep, great call. All right, guys. Well, I think we're gonna wrap her up. This has been a longer one, but we had a lot. We had a lot to cover, and a lot to talk about as far as the TNA thing and Impact and everything that happened last night. So a lot of that. We hope that we answered some of your questions if you had them, and again, I'll just say this. First of all, some information. Before we go, obviously join us tomorrow at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Abby's Abode. That'll be Jeff and Jody. They have that slasher bracket that they're doing. So that's the little Halloween thing that they're doing on that show, which is going to lead by your votes to a watch along of a horror film, which we've never done, which will be pretty fun and exciting to do. So please make sure you check that out. And they'll have some things too. There was some carrying cross stuff that I'm sure Jody might want to talk about. I know she's a big fan of his. They could talk a little Crazy Steve and what he's doing. So join them for that. It's a different side of wrestling and a little bit of horror kind of mixed in. So join them for that tomorrow, 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then come back and join us on Thursday for Impact Wrestling and a big follow-up to that big pay-per-view and what is going to be next for some of these people. What is, the TNA stuff can now be talked about. What is going to be next for Mickie James and everybody else. So join us for Impact as we do every single week. 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So join us for that as well. Don't forget to check Tazzy's stream out. I know he's doing NXT Halloween Havoc, which is 2 parts. So 1 part this week, 1 part next week. Next week, not this, of course, not 2 days from today, but the following week is Halloween, and you might want to join in that one because Jeff and I may just be there in costume. We may just be there in costume. So come out to Tazzy's stream. Check out Jeff and myself dressed up in our best Halloween outfits for Tazzy's stream for Halloween Havoc Part 2. So make sure y'all check that out too. And then I know Tazzy's going to, of course, be doing Crown Jewel on his channel as well. He always does those overseas pay-per-views because Jeff and I are usually at work and just can't do those. So make sure you join him for those also. All right. And that is pretty much going to do it for us for tonight. But I do want to say just one final thing. I want to shout out all of you in the community. I want to thank all of you for being along with us for this ride. And the ride is, of course, as you know, we focus mostly on Impact Wrestling. So we thank you for that. And we hope that you will continue to be on this train with us, and we hope that that you will spread the word to their, there's going to be new fans out there that are going to be wanting to come out. We did get some last night. We got some new people in our chat, which was great to see. So spread the word to all these people who are going to come out. Let them know that we have been doing this now for 3 years. And that we have this awesome community, welcoming people, and that we're trying to spread some positivity out there in the world of wrestling. So let them know, spread the word. And like I said, I'm just super proud of us and what we've done with the Impact side of things. So please do that. But otherwise, that's going to do it, guys. So for Jeff and for myself, please stay safe. Please be kind to one another. Don't forget to like the video, please, as you can see up on the screen. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already, and hit that notification bell to be notified about when we have future content. From all of us, again, we love you guys. You're awesome. Thank you for watching us. Really, really appreciate it. And hopefully we will see you all for our next show, which is tomorrow night at 6. Have a great rest of your Sunday, guys, and we'll talk to you all soon. Good night, everybody.